This veteran online seller and YouTuber has been doing print on demand for nearly 2 decades, all while working a full-time job, and recently took a huge step forward in his online journey. He has amassed a huge following on YouTube with over 154,000 subscribers on his channel, which is absolutely packed with value. He teaches others how to design and sell t-shirts and apparel online using print on demand. We are so excited to bring him back on the show as our first ever repeat guest to chat all things designs, trends, and the future of print on demand. I'm Adrian here with Kerry and friend of the show, Juna from Detour Shirts. Welcome to the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. Hello, everyone. I am so excited for this episode because we have a treat for you. We are bringing back our first ever returning guest. He really doesn't need much of an introduction. You probably already know who he is. I am so excited to have him back on the show. He always brings gold. And he also has a very, very big announcement. So without further ado, I want to welcome Juna from Detour Shirts back to the show. What is up, my friend?
What's up, man? Thanks. It's been a while, but thanks for having me back. This is awesome. Glad to be here.
Did you know you have one of the most listened to episodes on the podcast?
Whoa.
So our listeners love you, man.
Wow. Thanks so much for the love, you guys. And I think it's because of all the great questions that you guys gave me. So thanks so much, man. It's awesome.
Love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're so happy to have you. And it's kind of crazy to think that it's one of the most listened to episodes just because we've released episodes every week since January of 2023. And our episode together was quite a while back. So that definitely says something. You always bring so much value. You're just such an honest, authentic, value adding creator. And I think people really appreciate that. We like to keep it real here on the show. Mm-hmm. And we know that our values very much align there. You're just kind of like a source of truth on YouTube, man. And I know when I'm watching your videos, I know I'm going to get it how it is. But I think we should just get this big announcement out of the way. We've got lots to cover we want to talk about design trends and all things designing. I want to know how you created design templates for Kittle. We'll talk about that in a bit. Okay. But let's start out with the big announcement. You have done something recently that so many print-on-demand sellers aspire to do in their entrepreneurial journey. I think this is going to be very inspiring for people. So, dude, just lay it on them.
All right. Well, I think this goes back to let you guys know that I've said this before, that I've been doing this for a very long time. I started my print-on-demand journey back in 2005, so a long time ago with Cafe Press. I think I mentioned it on the last show too. Started Merch by Amazon, which really kicked it off, took it up to another level in 2017. And during the pandemic in 2020, I started my YouTube channel, which has been taking off as well. So many ways to help other people. Love it as that because I can reach out and help people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing, and I can give them advice. But because of all this has all been working up to me being a content creator full time. I've always been wanting to do this. I think a lot of people want to do this. And I left my 9 to 5 in July 5th. July 5th was my last day that last week, right after Independence Day, which was really appropriate because it's
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do half the year 9 to 5 and the other half of the year, full-time content creator. And obviously the last half of the year is the better half for print on demand, so that worked out. It's been kind of tough. It's only been 2.5 weeks, and I think I overcompensated on what I could do in 1 month or a couple of weeks. You probably heard the quote. I've heard this one before. People overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And I'm hoping that's true. And it's more micro than that, because I probably overestimated what I was going to do in 1 month and didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. Still got a big, long list. But I'm hoping that the 10-year part is true, that in 10 years from now, I'm going to do a lot more than I think I'm actually going to do. So that I think that's going to be great. I'm excited for this. And got so many plans, so many things I want to do. And now that I have more time, hopefully I can do them all. So.
Well, dude, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Super excited for you, super happy for you. Like, I've known forever you could do this. I think you've known forever you can do that. You could do this. But this is also just a treat to everyone on YouTube, because you are, I would say, one of the biggest YouTubers in the print on demand space, especially when it comes to design. And you were able to offer so much value doing this part-time. Like, that freaking blows my mind. How much content you put out while working a 9 to 5. Like, I could never put out as much content as you put out. And it was gold, man. It was gold. Like, I remember watching your videos really early in my print on demand journey, like years and years ago. And it's actually just a very special moment to be able to like have you on. And I never would have thought that one day we'd be talking face to face on a podcast when I was just in the grind, on my print on demand journey. So I'm curious to know though, like, what do you have planned, man? Like, you've already done so much.
I know.
You've already accomplished so much. You've already put out so much. Like, what's in the plans?
Hopefully more videos.
Yes, obviously really more videos. Yeah, obviously. So my YouTube channel is based off my Instagram. I started Instagram first, and the challenge, or what I wanted to do on my Instagram, is to have a way to help people who are doing the same thing I'm doing in print on demand, and mainly focused on design. So design and sell t-shirts online is kind of my tagline on YouTube. So I'm trying to find more ways that I can help with people who want to design and sell online. So there's going to be more downloads that I'll make for you guys, so that you can, learn how to design different ways. Maybe AI prompts, because I've been trying to learn about that with AI. I want to do different courses for different things, like how to design in Canva, how to design with Affinity, how to design. So I got huge plans, and it's mainly based around that. How can I help? That's what I ask every day, is what thing can I make? What video can I make? What product can I make to help people that are in the same position to create and sell t-shirts online, so that they can have more income, so that they can have a better life. That's basically it. And
so good.
That's my mission.
So good.
Yeah. That's so cool. And I mean, you've already really fulfilled that mission with your YouTube channel.
Thank you. Yeah.
I am so excited to see what is to come, like to see what you roll out. But I have to ask about Kittle, man. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but I was doing a YouTube video of my own for my own YouTube channel the other week, and I was showing how to create a winning design, like how to create a design inspired by a winner using templates in Kittle. And I used your template.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So it was just so much. I used the tarot card template that you created. I love that template. But it's the best tarot card template on there.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah, so good. So I was showing people how to use it, and I actually gave you a shout out because I looked and I was like, "Wait a sec, this is from Juna from Detour Shirts." So I just shouted you out on the channel. But how did that come about? Like, what's the relationship there?
So I think almost anybody can do this. I'm not sure if I'm just because I'm a subscriber, but when you create a design on Kittle, you can either save it for yourself or you can share it with everybody. And because I did it on a video and I'm not going to use it, and I wanted to teach people how to do it, a lot of times what I do is when I create my designs with Kittle, I just share it to the community, and you can do that. And that's how it happens. So and then other people can use what you've designed and change the words and change the graphics or whatever. But it's a great way, and that's what I love about Kittle, is all the templates, but there's so many great artists. When you look on there, you can clearly see the difference between the templates on Kiddo and some templates on some other apps. I'm not going to throw shade on those apps, but you can clearly see the difference. What's made by awesome designers and what's made by people who've never designed before. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I want to ask you for a favor. While we have you here, can you please create more templates and put them on Kiddo?
Yeah,
please.
I should. Right, I have more time. I'll write it down. Hold on, let me write this down on my list.
We thought you were like raking in the millions of dollars from those Kiddo templates.
Oh no, I don't. But that's because I probably only have 10 to 20 templates. I could probably do a lot more now, but yeah, maybe I should have a goal to make one a day or something. Hey, if you have any suggestions on what topics or what styles you want to see, let me know.
Oh dude, I'm going to shoot you DMs. Please. When we get trendy, when we have like trends hit that are like really, really big, I'm going to shoot you DM and be like, please create a template in Kiddo, and I'll create a video showing how people can use that as inspiration to create their own winning designs.
Okay, tag team.
We're gonna make this happen, man. We're gonna collaborate on this. This is awesome.
Awesome.
That's really exciting, though. I love your design style. I always have loved your design style. I mean, you're pretty dynamic. It's not like you have just one style. Right. I know you're kind of big on kind of like the anime, the kawaii kind of
fun.
Cartoon inspired stuff. But you're so good at so many different styles. Like the tarot was in no way like a lot of the designs that you create. It was very unique, very professional, looked so good. And yeah, it was just really exciting to see you, like create templates there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a whole bunch more.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the great compliment. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, speaking of design trends, I know you're big on this. Like you put out content about design trends and different design styles and whatnot. And something our listeners really like is finding out what's trending right now that they can use as inspiration, maybe to overlap with their niche, because a lot of our listeners are Shopify first. We do have a lot of Etsy sellers as well, but I think a lot of them are Shopify first. And so a lot of them are very niche down. They might be in the cat niche. They might be in the pickleball niche.
Nice.
And one way we know to increase sales, seasonal sales, is to find where the attention is and blend that with your niche. So for example, Halloween's coming up, right? Creating Halloween-inspired designs that are very specific for your niche. But I'd love to know some of the design trends that you're seeing that people could potentially blend in with their niches.
Okay. Well, I just had a video conference call with Cassie, who's also on Etsy. So I didn't know this, but this is a sneak peek of what's coming to the future. She said ribbons, bows is huge right now. I had no idea. So like try and incorporate bow ribbon. You'll probably see it if you do a search on Etsy. That's kind of trending right now. So
are you talking about coquette decor, like the pink bows?
Yeah, I think so. Just the bow tie, like Christmas bows, but they're different color and they look really vintage. And for some reason, that's trending. Right? I have no idea where that came from. Probably that, but you just said. So that's one I didn't know, but I learned from somebody else because it's really cool.
That is really cool. It's funny you mentioned that. One thing to say about that, coquette really started taking off in the like kind of New Year, springtime.
Yeah.
And I don't know what triggered it, but I'm literally seeing it everywhere now. And I'm seeing that people are kind of evolving it. So it started out, it's a very feminine style with a lot of pink ribbons, pink bows, quotes like, I'm literally just a girl. I don't know why that's like a really popular quote with coquette. Yeah. But it's a very like feminine style. But now what I'm seeing is people actually getting creative with it. So I recently saw a Halloween inspired design that incorporated coquette, and instead of the girly pink, the really feminine pink bows,
Yeah.
they made them orange and black.
Okay.
So they had they had other design elements, but they put orange and black ribbons that looked very coquette-esque. So yeah, I can definitely second that.
I think you were right on with that. Like you take things that are trending, but then take the holiday that's also going to be trending in a few months, the Halloween, and then you kind of mash those two together, and then you get something new and original that somebody else didn't do yet, right? So yeah, totally. I think that's cool. You try to look for the trends. I think another one is that I've seen, and this can be evergreen, but because of Halloween, I think it might take off a little bit more. Skeletons doing different things.
Hey, I want to invite you to my free masterclass where I reveal how to make your first $10,000 in sales with Shopify and print on demand. If you are just starting out, this will give you a head start. And if you're a POD veteran, this training is meant to help you multiply your growth faster. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can register for that free training by clicking the link below in the show notes, or by going to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow.
Right, we see skeletons skateboarding or drinking coffee or whatever it is. But especially for Halloween, it could be, it doesn't even have to be Halloween, but say Halloween or trick or treat or anything, or a skeleton doing trick or treat. It could be just skeleton doing, playing the guitar, whatever. Like I would mix it with a hobby, right?
Skeleton with a pink bow. Right?
You could do that. Yeah. Mash those trends together. Let's see what happens.
That's hilarious. That'd be quite the mashup. Coquette. Yeah. I can see it, man. Coquette skeleton. Maybe you could, make it relevant to the niche. Maybe
why not?
But I did see you drop a design recently that was like a skateboarding skeleton.
Yeah.
Did it say "Creep It Real"?
Creep It Real.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Man,
that was an awesome
design. You saw everything I make. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I follow you, man. Like I learned, I'm not a designer, but I learned my graphic design from you, man. Wow. I didn't take a
so cool.
schooling or anything for it. But yeah, man, skeletons for sure. And it's funny because they seem to be like, they can be cool and trendy all year round, but it makes so much sense for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're going to drop skeleton inspired designs any time of the year, I would say leading up to Halloween.
Yeah.
Which that leads me to another question. I want to keep hearing about your trends because this is gold. But I have a question.
Yes.
This is a question that we get asked a lot.
Okay.
And I want to know your opinion on it. So a lot of people, when they want to create designs for a particular upcoming holiday or special occasion, they want to know when they should be creating them, like how soon they should be creating and rolling them out onto their website or onto their marketplace, wherever they're posting their product. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yes, I would say 2 months before. And the reason for that is, I know it's a little early, but if you're on any print-on-demand site, maybe not your own site, but any print-on-demand site, Amazon, Etsy, Redbubble, TeePublic, whatever it is, you want to get it in early so that you can get the sales potentially, so that it will rank higher. In Amazon, you get BSRs for getting sales. And usually the higher BSRs are getting placed higher up on the page in searches, right? So you don't want to be late to the game where everybody else has sales, and this shirt and this other shirt that got in early already has 10, 20 sales, and you're coming in and Amazon's algorithm is like, well, we don't know this guy. We know this one makes sales, so let's put this one in the front, right? So that's the whole reason before putting it in early. And getting and people buy early too. People want to look and maybe they on Etsy. I know people like save it in their cart or whatever it is. People kind of save it and look early and then buy later. So that's another reason why you want to kind of be there a little early. And I have a whole calendar on my digital downloads page on my website where I kind of list all the holidays that you should be, kind of the popular print-on-demand holidays, not just all holidays, but print-on-demand holidays specifically, and what month you should be releasing those. So they're basically 2 months before, right?
That's awesome. Where can we find that? We'll drop a link to it in the show notes.
www.detourshirts.com, and I think it's /downloads, or just go to the downloads page. And you'll find it there. Yeah.
And that's a holiday calendar?
It's a holiday calendar, yeah. So every month, you can see.
Man, that's so helpful. That's going to be so helpful for people. I think we're like, as predominant sellers, we're always so busy, like
Hmm.
working on market. I would say marketing mostly,
Oh
that
yeah.
we forget about these upcoming holidays, and then we're like, oh crap, like Halloween's in a month, and I
Hmm.
haven't even started designing for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for people to have that calendar handy, I think that that's really going to help give them a heads up. And man, I totally second what you're saying about the 2 months. Like I am on Etsy right now, and I really love using Everbee for
Nice.
design
Yes.
research, but they
Hmm.
also tell you the monthly searches for terms, which I
Okay.
really love. And I just put in Halloween, and currently the monthly searches are over 3,400 a month,
Whoa.
and which is really, that is a high volume of monthly searches. Like that is what I would call very high volume of monthly
Already.
searches.
Wow.
And when you click on it and look at the products, first of all, they're mainly apparel. I just typed in Halloween, the word Halloween. I didn't put Halloween shirts or anything. It's mainly apparel, and it's almost all t-shirts, sweatshirts, and a lot of them are saying they're popular now. A lot of them are saying bestsellers. So this
Go.
stuff is selling already, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. If you can create, like I said, with this, that's why I think the skeletons thing could work, because if you can make a Halloween shirt that you can wear before Halloween, right? It's just like I love skeletons or whatever, or people that love skeletons or things like that, or the bow thing that we talked about. Like it could be a look Halloween, but people are going to wear it up to Halloween because that's even better because that I have a shirt that I can wear and I'm gonna try it out, and then I could wear it to the Halloween party, but I could also wear it as pajamas or whatever it is, wear it the whole month. That's a big good value, right, for someone. So
Totally. Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's the thing that I think people forget is that people don't just want to wear it on the day of. Like
hmm
I feel like Americans in particular, maybe the rest of the world is the same, but they love to be festive. They love to
hmm
get into the festive spirit of things.
hmm
And a lot of the times leading up to the holiday, weeks, maybe even a month or two in advance, people are already wearing
yeah,
designs inspired by these holidays. So
yeah,
it's nice. You can get more use out of
yeah.
it. Plus, as print on demand sellers, you have to factor in the time for production and shipping. That's going to add a couple extra weeks too, right?
True, true, true.
So yeah, definitely
And
a number of reasons. But I want to hear more, man. I think
can I
I
hear
think
one?
people are going
Say
to
one
love hearing these
more.
things. Yeah, yeah,
I'll say one more, and
yeah,
this kind of goes against what I just said, but
yeah.
um, this is I do this all the time for Halloween. And Halloween, I don't know if I said this before last time, but October is usually my best month out of all the
Mm.
months in the year. It
Wow.
actually beats out November and December most years, and I think every year I'll have to check. But
Wow.
it's because I do group Halloween costumes. So think about this, where people in a group, you're going as a team or as a family or as a friends, all of you want to wear something different, and maybe you're all condiments, right? So you've seen the ketchup and the mustard and the mayonnaise,
Oh
right? Or
yeah.
maybe maybe you all want to be a deck of cards or whatever, right? So think of how you can batch these kind of group T-shirts, and those on Etsy as well as anywhere else, especially on Etsy, because then you can show the picture. Because some of the other ones you can't like show the group picture, but Etsy is kind of prime for this because you can show people like five different people wearing different T-shirts and say, "This is a group T-shirt. Buy all of these," and think of something that's not done out there. So you're gonna have to brainstorm. It's going to have to be something different. Don't do the two that I just said because those are super saturated. But think outside the box of like, how can I make a group of T-shirts, simple um, costume T-shirts that maybe you could even wear outside of Halloween, but definitely going to a Halloween party with friends or family as a group, and think that that could do really well, could help you out really well for sales. So
That's super cool. I love that idea because it increases the average order value,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
People buy 3, 4, 5 shirts instead of one. It opens up the floodgates for more questions. So the first question is,
Okay.
how do you bundle these shirts? Like if you're trying to sell a let's say a husband, a wife, and a child all
Mm-hmm.
wearing like condiments or something, just use
Yeah.
as an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you would you just sell them as separate listings?
I do sell them as separate listings, but maybe in kind of put them together. Maybe I don't know. I haven't been on Etsy for a long time, so I don't know if you can link the two listings. But on Amazon, I would put it under the same brand, or so in TeePublic and Redbubble might be a little tougher, but you could kind of put them all together in your shop, and you could probably put something in the description, say, look for other condiment t-shirts on my site, or condiment Halloween costumes on my site, or something like that. That could really help too, if you can actually put a link to those. So there's some ways, and I get multiple sales on Amazon. I have some simple costumes that kind of relate to each other, and I get multiple sales, so it can happen.
That's awesome. So you just try to cross promote the other products in that collection. Absolutely. In the same listing.
Yeah, and people know kind of the same style. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing a condiment label for ketchup, and you have the same style condiment label for mustard, most people are trying to look for the same style. They don't want a ketchup label to look one way and then the mustard label looks totally different in a totally different style, right? They kind of all want to match. And so I think that really helps with selling your costume, your group costumes. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're selling the adult shirt version, like a Bella Canvas 3001, and then a youth shirt for children. Is that kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But usually what I sell is just all adults. It's usually like, the kid ones do well, but I've been seeing just a lot of just adult t-shirts all the same. So my guess is that friends are going together, not just families. So yeah.
Right on. That's really cool. It brings up another question though. I mean, if Halloween is your best selling time of the year, which is awesome, I do feel like that's kind of like the catalyst for Q4. That's when like things really start to kick off. But are you doing this for I would think Christmas would be very lucrative for that kind of thing too, because it's really popular for families to wear kind of like plaid inspired designs and Christmas inspired designs. What are your thoughts there? And are you creating, collections for other holidays?
I do. And that's a good one. Like the pajamas. That's a good idea. I don't sell as much of that. I don't know why. Maybe because the competition is a lot higher on that one, and it's not many people think of the Halloween group costume, but they do know about the Christmas ones. But yeah, same idea though, right? Like the difference is, I think for the Christmas ones, you probably want to do a little bit of personalization on it, where it kind of says. Elf mom, elf dad, elf whatever. You don't have to do the elf one, but you get the idea. You're making one that says dad and mom and brother and sister and all of those. That's kind of the differentiator, where it's kind of the same idea. It's still scalable, but scalable in a different way, right? We're not doing individual different condiments in this one. We're doing kind of the same thing, but scaling the name of the family relationship. So.
Right. That leads to another question, man. Like everything you say opens up Pandora's box.
Oh,
and
nice.
I really want to learn from you, but also share your wisdom with all of our listeners. But are you doing customized products?
I'm not, because I'm not on Etsy, and I would love to use Hello Custom. I don't know if Hello Custom works with Shopify, but as soon as it does, I'll probably do that.
Apparently they're rolling it out for Shopify, but I don't think they've announced the rollout yet, but they have announced that they're rolling it out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. There's so many cool stuff coming up in the future. That's one that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I might get on Etsy now that I'm full-time. I might just go back to Etsy just for that, because I didn't have that access when I was doing Etsy years and years and years ago. But and that's really, I think, is a great value. If you can provide that on Etsy, it's one way for you to stand out above those that can't do that. And I think it's really cool that if you can add a little bit of customization, that will give you kind of the edge to, kind of get more sales, because that's greater value. Yeah.
Right. What would you, if you were to do this, what would you explore? Like, what are some ideas that you think are like good opportunities in the customization, personalization space?
Well, I have three ideas. Customized years, so birthdays, when you were born, or
Hmm.
your birthday, or something like that. Family, we just talked about that. Mom, dad, sister, brother, things like that. And occupations, I think, is another huge one. So
Mm.
you could do a almost generic kind of shirt, but then change, nurse and doctor and lawyer and those kinds of things. So those, I think, I would stick to those first. Birthday ones would be really cool. I think I never even gone down that deep. That's kind of really niche, where you can say my birthday on this specific date. That could be really cool. Yeah. So dates, I guess dates, family names, and occupations would be the ones that I would try and target. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I on Etsy, just based on research, even though I don't sell on Etsy, well, I do sell on Etsy, but I don't sell on Etsy nearly as much as I sell on Shopify. I've always been
Mm,
like Shopify first. But one thing I'm seeing on Etsy, because I do a lot of design research on Etsy, I think it's
mm,
like one of the best places.
mm-hmm,
Probably that and Instagram are probably my single favorite places for design research. But one thing I'm seeing a lot right now are like the sleeve prints. So
mm,
either it's embroidered, it'll be like, mama, it'll say like mama across the chest, and then it'll have like a heart with like a birthday of the baby or the name of the baby or something like
wow.
that. That's really seems to have taken off in like the last year. And I think a big reason is because I think it was Printify, maybe it was Printful that rolled it out. I don't know which one rolled it out first, but you can do it through print on demand now. And
Hmm.
back in
Wow.
the day, I don't even think that was an option with print on demand. But um,
That makes sense. That makes
started.
sense. That's another thing. Like, you always want to look for ways that you can stand out, either with design or with ways that you're printing. So you can stand out with by making a better design. You can stand out with, like, oh, I can do customization and this other person can, or you can stand out with that, like printing on the sleeve or making this
Mhm.
metallic color or a puffy thing. There's so many different ways that you could stand out that other people don't have access to, or maybe there's a money barrier or whatever it is. So yeah, look for different ways for you to stand out, and not only just stand out, but it has to be something people want to buy too, right? So
Right.
it's not just standing out, but look for different ways that, like, people want to buy this, and it's a way for you to give value to the customer. So
Yeah, yeah. I think another reason why customization, personalization is so big, particularly on Etsy right now,
mm-hmm,
is because a lot of the big apparel clothing brands, they're not really doing customization and
mm-hmm,
personalization because they're just selling at a high volume.
mm-hmm,
They're coming out with great designs that evoke emotion, relatability for their niche. They've got loyal brand advocates, cheerleaders for their brand that love to support them, but they're not doing it because I know some Etsy sellers, they're spending a lot of time fulfilling these personalized orders. So yeah, I've felt like that for a long time. Like you see in the last year, you've really seen like personalization and customization really taking off on Etsy. And I think because I consider Etsy kind of like a commodity based platform, kind of like Amazon, where it's very hard to stand out as a brand and create like a brand experience because you're so limited in your branding options and you don't have a lot of control and they're cross promoting your competitors. And it's just customization, personalization is something that for a lot of people takes some more time and a lot of people, especially bigger brands, aren't really willing to do it.
mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that assessment? What are your thoughts? Like, why do you think it's really taken off on marketplaces like Etsy?
Yeah, I think you're right on. I think that's exactly right. I think it's taken off because now more and more people can do it with, like, Hello Custom and things like that. And I think there's the proof behind that it's working. We've seen the videos that people like it, and yeah, it's great. Like, if you're going to do a gift, and think about gifts when it's coming to Q4, I think this is
Mm-hmm.
going to take off because a personalized gift, when you get it and you open it and, like, oh, how did you do this? This is awesome, right? Instead of
Right.
just like this, I got this from Target or whatever. But yeah, I think that's going to really help, and I think that's why it's doing so well, because we can do it. The proofs behind it, and the more people are trying to think, well, this person can do personalization. How am I going to even up the ante on that? How can I make the design look better plus the personalization and things? So yeah, I think it's just going to get better and better. So
Yeah, it used to be really difficult to do stuff like this, right? Like you couldn't technically do it without like a custom website or something crazy like
Correct.
that.
Or take you a long, long time. You'd have to go back
You do it one by one.
one by one. Exactly. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what's the name again? And I'll type it
Yeah.
out. And yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool to see a lot of the print on demand companies, inputting this functionality into their software.
Hmm.
I've talked about it on the podcast before, Juna, but I earlier this year in February, I was able to go over to Norway to a
Cool.
summit with Gelato. And
Nice.
this was like, I'm sure you're familiar with Gelato, the print on demand company, but this was like the central theme almost of that whole summit was, there we were in the room with multiple seven figure sellers, and they were all kind of focused around personalization, and
Mhm.
a lot of them using their print on demand plus like a third party software. But Gelato kind of rolled out some, I would say, some pretty advanced personalization features in their software, which is really really cool. And then some of the more advanced stuff like maybe star maps. I don't know if you've looked into like star maps, but those are really really cool. The location where you got engaged, like what the star pattern was that on that
Right.
night, or even maps of the location of things. This is where I got married. Here's the Google map, but it's like it's nicely designed map of where you're at. Those kind
So
of things.
cool.
So there's lots of pretty creative, personalized brands out there and ideas. And Adrian, I think you were spot on. Like, it's not something you can go get anywhere, right? Like,
Hmm.
Right.
you can't
Hmm.
just go down to Target or Walmart and pick up like
Hmm.
any kind of personalized apparel.
That's
So
right.
it's very specific, and it's really it has deep meaning to people.
Hmm.
And another thing I think we didn't bring up, just kind of maybe cap off this conversation, but you can charge way more money. Like, you can
That's true. Yeah.
the margins are. I mean, you can charge 50-60% more for the product, and your costs actually don't go up at all, or maybe just a tiny bit if the software costs
Hmm.
something to use it. But it's a really good opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got to try it. That's one of my goals is I got to get into that personalization space. That the thing that's really cool, we live in such an awesome time that I think it's just going to get better. The technology is going to get better with AI and all the different print on demand sites are trying to, do something else, do something new. I'm excited for like Printify, Amazon integration. You got YouTube has some things that they want to do with shopping, and
Mhm.
like there's so many things. I think it's just going to get better and better and better. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but the creator economy
yes.
is expected to really blow up over the next
Yeah.
couple of years. Like, I don't think people realize that we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now. Like, the
Hmm.
estimate for the creator economy and this kind of like print on demand space, it's expected to grow significantly for the
Hmm.
foreseeable future, year on year. And I predict that a lot more industries are going to be disrupted over the
Hmm.
next couple of years. I
Absolutely.
mean, you look at like a Printify, just this year alone in 2024, they released print on demand coffee.
Hmm.
Pretty unique, right?
Wild.
Print on demand skincare.
Hmm.
And it's not like one single product. Like, they got multiple coffee types that you can print on demand, and they've got multiple skincare products that you can print on demand. But I mean, those are $1 billion industries that are
Hmm.
being disrupted by print on demand, and like allowing us print on demand sellers to enter those markets and to earn from that demand. But I think there's just going to be a whole lot more industries, $1 billion industries disrupted by print on demand over the years. And that's why, print on demand has actually been around for quite some time. I mean, you said you've been doing it since 2005. Dude, that's almost 2 decades.
That's true.
You've been in the game. I don't know anyone who's been in the game that long. You
Yeah.
are the GOAT.
Wow.
And
Thanks,
I didn't
man.
think print on demand existed in 2005. I was in high
me
school.
Yeah. May 5th, 2005 was the day so Cinco de Mayo 2005 was the day we signed up for Cafe Press. So it was
That's
cool.
Wow.
wild. That's wild. What do you think? This kind of leads me into another question that I really wanted to hear from you.
Mhm.
What do you kind of see? Where do you see print on demand heading? Like, I think it sounds like we're all in agreement that the future is very bright. We've seen print on demand evolve over the years. Like Kerry and I, we've been in the space since around like 2016 ish, so not nearly as long as you, but still a pretty significant amount of time. And man, it's just gotten easier. The product catalogs have gotten bigger. Things like custom features, like customization, have gotten better. Uh, Product categories have expanded. What do you see as the future of print on demand? Like, where do you see it going from here?
Well, I'll make some predictions. It's hard to predict because you never know what they're going to do. I'm
Right.
going to guess that print on demand is going to try and integrate with um, different social media things. We're seeing it already. Printify with TikTok, YouTube having the more and more ways to put shopping on there. I think
Right.
what they want to make it easy for us because as content creators, we're building the audience, and so we can
Right.
push the audience to buy the thing. That's kind of the three things of getting a sale, right? You need a good design, you need a good product for people to buy. You need something that actually people want to buy, so the
Right.
interest, the audience, and you need to get it in front of people. And I think that's the one thing that's really hard to do. And so I think print on demand sites are going to try and get that easier for you to do. Whether it's easier way to share with your friends and family, easier way to share on social media, or have your audience kind of be more integrated in the things that you buy, which kind of it's both, right? Like, so just being a print on demand seller, which is why I tried to do both in the beginning when I was telling you that I did print on demand with Cafe Press, but I really didn't have a bigger audience at that time. So it's good to kind of build the audience, and my audience is different. So I'm not the best at building the best audience, because my audience is for people who want to design and sell t-shirts, not necessarily people who want to buy t-shirts. But maybe I can do other print on demand stuff that can really help with doing that. So just know your audience and know what they want. I think that's key. So yeah, the future is bright. AI, I think, is going to have a big, big, big part. Not just AI art, but there's things that AI can do, with text and things like that, and help build. AI is being integral in kind of building apps too. So we're going to see a lot,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that are going to be built, like you said, disruptive with that. So yeah, I think it's scary and exciting. just like leaving a 9 to 5, it's scary and exciting. Lots of
Right.
opportunity, but also I don't know exactly what's going to happen. So we're going to have to, as print on demand sellers, are going to have to like pivot every time, right? Like, oh, here's the new thing. Let's try and pivot there and learn this. So yeah.
Well, I'd love to explore AI a little bit. I felt like we couldn't have a conversation with you without talking about AI,
Mm-hmm.
because you're a huge AI advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what I love about you and your strategy is that you've really evolved over the years. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
went from hand drawing designs,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
now it sounds like, based on your YouTube content, that you're doing primarily AI designs. Is that right?
It is for my design with Detour stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because I've decided. So I'll go back a couple of years. I did this thing a couple of years ago called Shirttober, and it
I
was based
remember.
off of Inktober, which people were hand drawing things. And I'm like, I bet I could do a T-shirt a day in October. I don't know why they pick October. I think it's because it matches October, Inktober. So I did October, and it did so well that I did April the next year. I did Shirttober in April, which made no sense, but I
Shirt
did another
April,
one. Yeah,
shirt
but it should
April,
have been that
T
instead.
T April, or I don't know.
T
we
April.
we could think of something cool.
Yeah. So then the next year, people were like, "Can we do another one?" So I did another one in Shirtober in October the following year, and people were like, "We love this so much." So then I was like, "Okay, let's just do this every month." So I have a list, a topic list for every day in 2024. I started in January. I'm
That's
calling it,
crazy.
and instead of calling it what is shirt January or whatever, I called it Design with Detour, because I'm like, we can't do the month things. So I call it Design with Detour. I put those lists on my digital downloads page, same place where you get the calendar, and it's free, and you can follow along. I post it on Instagram and whatever. You can follow. I posted Instagram, Twitter, YouTube if you follow me there as well, and you can do it yourself. I wanted a way for people like because I go back to like how can I help people do this, and I think a lot of people are like I don't know what to design today. I know I got to design something, and so I'm like,
Right.
well, go follow this list. And I looked through all the different print on demand sites and tried to find like the top ones, evergreen ideas, and yeah, I do. And I use going back to the question is I'm using AI right now because it's so much, right? Like if I were to draw, I did shirt over by drawing by hand, and that took so long. And I'm like, I can't do a design every day without some help. And so I forced myself to use AI so that I can learn AI myself and then also show people like you can use AI. Here's how it's evolving. Here's how it's working. And I like the quote that someone said like AI is not going to replace your job. It's the person that knows AI better that probably will take your job, right? So I was kind of scared at that. I'm like, well, I better learn AI for myself, and the way that I can do it is integrate this into my design with Detour. And so that's kind of how they all kind of came together. Is I wanted to teach myself AI, see how it's evolving, and it has, and I've been using it a lot. I started off with Leonardo and
Hmm.
Midjourney and Ideogram, but now I really like ChatGPT with DALL-E 3 with the specific GPT sticker whiz. I know that's kind of sounding nerdy, but that's that's what that's what I've been using
I know what
lately.
you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Oh, good. So
I
yeah,
was going to ask you what's your favorite AI image software, AI art
that's it.
software, but that's it. Chat
That's
GPT
it.
with
Chat
sticker whiz.
GPT with sticker whiz, the GPT sticker whiz with
Nice.
DALL-E 3.
Mm.
So I have a
Pretty
paid
cool.
subscription. I'm using Chat GPT 4.0, and yeah, it comes out. I mean, it's not perfect. I wish it wasn't as grainy. I wish it like was more looking like vector, but it's what we got so far. And I would believe that in 2, 3, 4 years that it will be nice and crisp instead of
Oh
grainy.
yeah.
So
Less than
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
It'll it'll be fast.
yeah.
Uh That's interesting. Yeah, I've been using ChatGPT with Dolly,
Nice.
but not as much with Sticker Wiz. I've used it a little bit, and I think I initially checked it out because of one of your videos,
Oh, nice.
just
Thank you.
seeing you use it.
Mhm.
But that's really interesting. Are you using any other AI software that's kind of like in your stack?
Well, kind of. So I'm using it is kind of AI, but it's not. As you know, AI comes in at like 1024 by 1024 usually, unless you can upscale it in Midjourney and some other
Hmm.
things. So I actually have to upscale it when I use it or
Mm.
vectorize it. So I am using sometimes I use dgb.lol, the website, to upscale my ChatGPT designs.
Hmm.
Sometimes I use Kiddo's vectorizer. I used to
Has
use
that built
vectorizer
in?
AI. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Kiddo has a vector thing built in. So I used to use
Hmm.
vectorizer AI. I still think it's the best one out there, but I already had Kiddo, so I didn't have to pay
Yeah.
for that. So I'm using Kiddo, and kind of vectorizing. Usually the ones that are like black and white or 2, 3 colors. It does a really good job at that. It does a good job honestly with everything, but I like to use it for the 1 to 2 colors to vectorize it. Because if it has more than that, I'm probably not going to vectorize it anyway. I kind of want to have the same look and feel of it with the
Yeah.
colors. And Kiddo also has upscaling on there too, so I like that, and a background remover. So I
I'm
use
pretty
all of that.
impressed with the Kittle AI features. It's really
Me
good.
too.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their mascot feature. I use that a bunch because I'm like, oh, I bet I could do a really cool mascot for this right here, and it does it. It's better than I would have done. So yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's awesome. So would you, if you were creating a design
Uh huh.
in, let's say, Kittl
hmm
with a template,
hmm
well, would you use a template and then use AI to create graphic elements? Is that
If
kind
I
of how
couldn't
you?
find it, if I couldn't
Okay.
find it already, because they have a ton of graphics.
Right.
So if I
Right.
didn't find the thing that I wanted to look for, and that I think that's the power of AI. This is
Right.
why I use it, is because a lot of times you're limited to the clip art that's out there. And
Yeah.
how many times have you, I don't know about you, but there's so many times that I've gone in there and like, I'm looking for this specific thing, but I can't find it with clip art.
Hmm.
But you can make it with AI and it doesn't come out exactly what's in your mind, but it has some pretty cool outputs that you're like, oh, I didn't think of that, but yeah, that is the thing I just said with the prompt. So yeah, I do use
That's
AI.
awesome. And I mean, you can just add it, you can tweak the prompt a little bit, or you
Mm-hmm.
can just do the same prompt and see what it spits out like a second or
Exactly.
a third time, right?
Yeah, and that's the power of AI is the speed. Now it's
Yeah.
not necessarily clear, and it's going to get better, like you said, in the future. But I think you're kind of moving at the speed of thought almost, right? Like I need this. What is this? Type it in, and it pops it out, and within less than a minute, like seconds, right? You get something that comes out that kind of matches what you want. And if you're not, and kind of some of the cool advances right now is that it will keep the image like you. There's a lot of them have the brush where you can like, oh, I like this, but this six finger thing we need to fix, or I want to take out this word thing here or whatever, and you can kind of brush on it and say remove that. At least in ChatGPT, I know some other ones that do that as well, and it kind of modifies it so you don't have to retype the prompt. You can use the one that you liked minus the imperfections that you can kind of get rid of. So
Yeah. Yeah. It really has come a long way. And
mm-hmm.
one thing that I think that's really cool that you've done in particular as like you're like a legit graphic designer turned AI designer slash advocate. But I
Yeah.
love that because a lot of graphic designers have been kind of freaking out for a
True.
pretty good reason about AI replacing them. But
Yeah.
you chose to just like think with like a growth mindset and be like, well, wait a sec. I can learn this and then I can be an expert in that area and
Yeah.
it can actually help me be a better designer. I think it's really cool that you chose to innovate. You chose to learn and evolve. And now you're finding ways to even do more with the help of AI. Whereas some graphic designers, I feel really bad for the ones that have not gone that route. And maybe they're in denial, or maybe they're just not comfortable with it, or they're really opposed to it. And I'm worried for those people. I'm a bit worried for those people because a lot of people are using it now, and you're one of those people. You've just evolved so much with it that now you're like an expert. You started as a graphic design expert. Now you're an expert in AI too.
Yeah, yeah, and you're exactly right. Like I've seen this before, right? With the internet coming, I'm old enough to know when the internet kind of took over, and like we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the internet before, and people were like, "Ah, this internet stuff, I'm not going to learn this, or it's going to go away. It's just a fad," and it stayed. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with AI. I don't think AI is going to go anywhere, and so I
Yeah.
decided, you know what? Instead of saying, "Let's get rid of AI," and I'm never gonna, I'm boycotting this and never going to learn it. I like did the opposite because I'm like, this is here to stay and I don't want to be left behind and I want to learn this. So I'm going to teach myself to do it. And I honestly had a lot of questions too from other people. Like, what do you think about AI and can we use AI? And we've seen videos, we've all seen other videos besides mine that they use AI, and like, I better learn this because it's just going to get better and harder to use probably. I don't know,
Yeah.
to understand what it's about, right? So I need to learn now, kind of as it's going, kind of catch that wave so that I'm not behind. So yeah, right on.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome, and I think that you're right. It's here to stay. It's kind of like social media. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
was like the internet. Then it was social media. People are like, oh, I'm not going to put my brand on Instagram. I don't need to be on social media. And
Yeah.
like, look how many people have had their lives changed by Instagram or TikTok or even
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like the creators who said, yeah, I am going to give this a shot, and I'm gonna innovate. I'm gonna evolve, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna explore new platforms. A
Yeah.
lot of those people, that's their like they're making their full-time income from these platforms now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I look at it as a tool, right? Like
mhm.
if we actually look at it as a tool, people are like, "I can't believe you're using AI. You should be drawing it yourself." Well, if you go back, um, AI
They
like
thought the same
apps.
thing about Photoshop.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. Photoshop. We're using tools right now to do that, right? And so, like, it's the same thing. We're not all drawing by hand right now. Are you
Mhm.
crazy? We're
I mean,
using apps and vectors and
you
all that stuff. So
you could go all the way back to even like just cameras, right? Like before
yes.
cameras,
Mhm.
people were painting or drawing
Mm-hmm.
photos. Like
Mm-hmm.
people would hang portraits in their house that
Yeah.
were hand
Yeah.
drawn or hand painted, and these cameras come out. It's like, you're really going to use a camera? Like that's not
Yeah.
real. That's not like, yeah,
Exactly. But to that point, right? like they thought at that time, I'm sure, like, oh, that's it. The painters are dead. We're nobody's ever
Exactly.
gonna. But guess what? There's still painters that make tons of money, right?
Mhm.
They're
Right.
still looking. There's still graphic designers that make lots of money. There's still so
Well, and a
I
lot
don't
of
think it's yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of times it creates a desire for that thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
so the AI is likely, and I think already is, it's creating more desire in people for a custom,
exactly.
high quality graphic designer that's going to do something that, AI can't do, right? So it makes it in more demand.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. I think those that are worried about AI should really worry about building their own brand and things that you can do
Yeah.
that will stand out outside of AI. That's what it's going to be. Is like, yes, I this is my style. This is Detour shirt style. This is not AI. This is not anybody else. I'm not copying anybody
Mhm.
else. This is authentic to me, and I think that's how you stand out from AI or whatever it
It's
is
really
that
good.
you're going to buy your people are going to buy your stuff because they like you. They like your style. They like the things that
Mhm.
you're going to put out, and they're waiting to see what you're going to come up with next and going to buy that, right? So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. Using it as a tool to empower designers as
Hmm.
opposed to bring them down.
Hmm.
It's a huge opportunity for those open to innovate,
Hmm.
and evolve, like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Um,
you. Thank you. And it
yeah,
surprises
very.
me every day. Like the thing that I did with the design with Detour that I'm surprised is that it forces me to think of different things for that topic of the day. Like today was, let me look, aliens, right? So how can I stand out? What's out there right now, and then what's not out there right now that I can create with AI because nobody's done it. There's no clip
Right.
art for it, right? So now I can use AI to kind of say, "Oh, do this, this, and this," and now this can stand out above the things that are already there. So
Yeah, that kind of leads to another question. I'm curious where you do design research. Like, what are your favorite places, platforms to go to get inspiration for trendy, popular, winning, best-selling designs?
yeah, I always start with the sites that I'm selling on. So right now, my top three are Amazon, Redbubble, and TeePublic. I
Mm.
look at those first and kind of get an idea of what's popular, what kind of styles are people looking for. Then I love to just type on Google and then look at Google. But I love going like in real life, like to the mall and Target and things like that. Love those t-shirt shirts. There's so many of those t-shirt shops at the mall too. Whenever I see them,
Yeah.
I go in and kind of stop in and get my phone out and take some pictures and get some ideas. So yeah, that's kind of where I go. I used to go, and I haven't done it in a while, but I used to go back in the day to Busted Tees. I still go to Shirtoid. I don't know if you know that site. That one's a really cool
No.
one. It kind of aggregates all the like, well, the guy who runs it is really cool, and he goes searches online and kind of posts like what he thinks is kind of the trends and the new things that comes up. I think he's like searching shirt woot and other kind of t-shirt sites like that where they're the threadless and the things. I've had a couple of mine on there recently, so it's pretty cool. But yeah,
Cool.
Busted
What was that
Tees,
website?
Shirtoid, Shirtiod.
Or
Shirtoid.
Oh, shirt,
OID.com.
Yeah.
shirtoid.
Okay, yeah, I'm on
I
there
thought you
right
were saying like
now.
toy. I was like, shirt toy? Oh, cool.
Shirtoid. I hope that's how you say it. Toid.
Shirtoid.
Some of these designs look pretty similar to your
Yeah,
style.
yeah, yeah. That's why I like it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
That that
Threadless
makes
is
sense.
another good place to look at
What
good
is?
art. Threadless.
Oh, threadless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're cool.
threadless.
They usually have two or three competitions going on at the same time, but then you can see like really good artists on there too. So yeah.
That's really cool. Do you use Merch Informer at all?
I do use Merch Informer. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, to do research, but it's pulling from Amazon. So
yeah.
I use that Pretty Merch Pro Plus. I have that and Merch Informer for my merch. I'm looking at what's popular on Amazon.
Right.
Merch on demand. Yeah, yep.
And would you say that of the platforms that you're selling on, Merch by Amazon is
By far,
it? by far.
By
Okay,
far,
yeah.
not even the second place. T Public is not even close. I'm probably 10 times more on Amazon than I do at T Public, which is number two. Yeah.
And then
Wow.
Redbubble number 3.
Uh huh.
Dude, what happened to Redbubble? It was
Well,
just like a fall from grace, like a
yeah,
year or two ago.
yeah, and I'm a Redbubble ambassador, so
Okay.
We're gonna have a meeting, but
So don't hate on him, Adrian.
the but what I hear is they're working on a lot of new things. The first thing they wanted to do is clean it up. So you've probably heard this on Redbubble, where had a lot of spam tags, had a lot of
Mm.
copyright stuff, and so
Yep.
the first part of last year, or ending of last year and beginning of this year, they started to kind of clean up all of that,
Nice.
clean it all up, and supposedly the end of this year, I hope they release it soon. I don't know what it is. They haven't told me, even though I'm the ambassador, one of the ambassadors. But they're supposed to release some new things that's supposed to help getting sales. And I have been seeing sales kind of creeping up just a little bit with stickers. And as I'm doing design with Detour, because I'm uploading multiple times in a month, in a week, that always helps, just uploading. But yeah, I'm crossing my fingers. You're right. Redbubble did take a dive a couple years ago, and then even last year, and both of them, TeePublic and Redbubble, added this new tier system, not like the
Yeah.
Amazon tier system, but different tier levels where you get more benefit for being on there, and the new sellers don't necessarily get as much benefit on TeePublic and Redbubble and things like that. So I think that's one way for them to kind of clean up the stuff, the bad stuff, but also kind of hurts people from saying, "Hey, I'm not getting sales. I don't want to sign up for that." So they're gonna have to learn what's happening there. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting.
it is. It is.
Anyhow, yeah, I want to kind of shift gears into
Okay.
some general print on demand stuff, because
Sure.
I want to know what I think that this could be, listeners could really appreciate this coming from you. What are some big opportunities that you see in like the next year rolling out for people to kind of lean into?
Yeah. Well, we talked about AI, but along with that
Mhm.
automation, I think
Mhm.
if you want to add more and more stuff, I think you know, eventually I got to do that too. I'm talking to myself. I need to do more automation so that I can push more products to more print on demand places without using my time. It's kind of like the whole watering. I always think about sprinklers and watering the lawn, right? You can go out there and water by hand yourself, but that's going to take a long time.
Right.
Or you could buy a sprinkler system and have it do it for you, right? That's kind of what I think is automation is kind of like, is like, spend the money. It's an investment, but you'll get your time back, so you can do something else besides doing that all by hand, which you could, but I think it's really hard. I would think we're going to see a lot more print on demand sites. I'm hoping Amazon adds more products and more ways to make money on Amazon. I'm excited for the Printify Amazon integration that should be
Mhm.
coming up.
Mhm.
Um, I gave you what I thought might happen with integration with social media. So look out for that. Different ways to make money online. And yeah, I think there's just going to be more and more ways for you to make money online. If you don't like making T-shirts, there's other products that you can sell on
Right.
there. But yeah, I think the future is bright with that. There is lots of competition, yes, because more and more people see this as a great opportunity. But I think you can stand out, like we talked about, like find out what you're good at, your style, ways that you can bring value, and I think that's kind of the focus. Yeah.
Cool. Great advice. Great insights. As we kind of bring it in for a landing here,
Uh-huh.
I want to know if you have any advice for print on demand sellers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our listeners are new;
Mm-hmm.
they have not started yet, or they're very early in the stages.
Yeah.
So, any advice for
Yes.
them, and as an additional follow up question, kind of any advice going into the fourth quarter?
Okay.
Which is coming up before we know it.
Yes. Okay. And let me see if I can give you some good stuff. So
We take notes.
Yeah, take take some notes. What I see a
Bring it
lot
on.
with new sellers is they're getting into selling print on demand because it's such a good business model, but they've never designed a t-shirt in their life, right? They get on here because of the money and they know it's a great deal, and it's great, but people aren't going to buy your design if it's not a t-shirt design. I see a lot of the newbies, they put two words on a shirt and throw a graphic on and like, okay, that's one, and another, and that's two, and like, you need to go out. The reason why I push design so hard is because that's what separates you from the other products
Mm,
that's out there, right? At
mm,
the end of the day, we're going to see a long list if you're on Amazon and TeePublic, Redbubble, Etsy, wherever, unless you're doing your own design, but your own Shopify shop, you're going to have a lot of other competition right next to you, and the only way that you're going to stand out and get those clicks and get the sales is that your design needs to be better than the other design. And it doesn't necessarily need to be designed better than the other designs. It has to be give someone a reason to click on it. So first, learn the basics. What a good t-shirt design. I like to say start in the tall rectangle, right?
mm,
And this is why I want to do the course, is like beginner course for design. Like,
Mm.
here are some of the basics. Like, here's some 10 basic templates that you can follow. And we talked about templates on Kittle. So that's a really good way. If you've never designed a t-shirt before, go start with a template, a really good template, and change the words, and learn as you go kind of thing. So that's one. Learn good design. Doesn't have to be a masterpiece, but it needs to be what people want to wear on a t-shirt at the
mm.
very least, right? So
Right.
that you can get a site sale. Start with topics. I think the next thing that a lot of new sellers like, what do I design? I have no idea. Like, I can design anything, but I don't know where to start. I would say start with topics that your hobbies,
Mm,
your occupation, things that you know a little bit about, and so you can start there and then grow. The reason why you want to start there is because you are the audience, instead of you
right.
trying to guess what the audience wants, is because you got to design for the audience. So if you are part of that audience, you probably know what you want, and hopefully, because you're part of the audience, the other people in that audience want the same thing. So start with what you know, and again, design for the audience. So if you're not designing for topics and you want to kind of branch out, you kind of got to get to know the audience. Each print on demand site has a kind of different audience. So the audience on Etsy is different than the audience on TeePublic. It's different than the audience on Amazon.
Mm,
Get to know that audience, and then each topic kind of has its own audience, right? So the people who love the bows that you talked about, is it
croquette.
called
Yeah.
croquette? Yeah, that's a specific audience, right? So
Right.
that design is going to be different than if you're designing for a man that wants to do fantasy football or whatever, right? That's a totally different audience. So kind of learn that. About heading into Q4, I think we talked about this about Halloween, but I would stress
Hmm.
again, gifts. Think about gifts. So this is why occupations and hobbies and family things do really, really well for Christmas, because they're buying those for gifts, right? Here's my mom that is a nurse. I'm going to buy her
Right.
a t-shirt that says something about moms and nurses. So just that. So can be very broad. Think about different things on there. Let's see, Halloween costumes we talked about, and get those ranking now. We're two
Hmm.
months away, like July, August, September. We're almost 2 months away from Halloween. So I would say
Yeah.
start putting in some fall designs, back to school designs, Halloween designs right now. Get them ranking, like we said. Hopefully, get some sales. Maybe you can start pushing some of those. The marketing, get it in front of some other people with social media and wherever you want to market that. Um, I would also say some of the things that beginners do on social media. Is that they think that just blasting their t-shirts on social media on Instagram is going to get them some sales, and that's not really true. You don't want to just t-shirt post, t-shirt post, t-shirt post, t-shirt
Right.
post like that. That you're actually going to get less followers than that. So you want to
Yep.
keep it interesting. Maybe show how you came up with the design. I think that I know people love to see those kind of reels. I know I do, where you start with like a line and then like, okay, where is this going to go, and
Mm,
start with that, or make it interesting on change up the t-shirt. Maybe put it on a mock-up. Maybe it's a video mock-up place it or something like that. But it has to be something different. And if you have a niche or a topic that you're designing for, even better, because then you can make a Instagram. You don't have to do this, but if you're doing all dog t-shirts and that's what you're doing, that's great. Then maybe put some other things that will give value to that audience and build that audience of dog lovers on your Instagram channel. And then you can kind of, put the t-shirt in there every once in a while. So hopefully that's not too much. We wrote all those down. That's a lot of information.
So much good stuff. No, that was so much good stuff. And pretty much everything you said there could also be applicable to Shopify sellers. I mean, talking about designs that people actually want to wear, making your designs better than other similar designs out there. And yeah, Instagram, man, like it's hands down one of the biggest mistakes I see brands make, new brands on Instagram, is just posting their products. It's a great way to kill your growth potential. Like if you don't want to grow on Instagram, just post your products. That's like really like it's not a recipe to grow. And you should post your products, but you shouldn't only post your products. And I see it so often, and then people are left scratching their heads wondering why they're not growing. They're like, I posted it for the last 30 days straight. And you go and it's just a bunch of like generic mock-ups from a print on demand company. And you're like, who is looking at this page and be like, yeah, that's a page I want to follow, right? It looks, I feel like it comes across as very salesy and like buy. And it's like not offering any value. Like you're not, you want to build up like emotion evoking and relatable kind of content to attract these people and offer them value up front.
Absolutely.
To get them to be brand advocates. So
I couldn't agree more. Give 20 times before you ask with your t-shirt. Like, here's my t-shirt. You're going to have to give value. People go on Instagram either to be entertained or educated.
100%.
So try one of those two things. Your t-shirt that's just a t-shirt on there is, like you said, it's advertising. That's not entertainment or education, right? So try one of those two things first. You can educate by showing how you built it. You can be entertaining by making it fun and stuff. So yeah, give,
Love it.
Man. Yeah,
love it, man. Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. Like, we know your time is valuable. You're a busy guy. You're in high demand. You create a crazy amount of content. So first off, thank you so much for being a guest, and thank you for sharing so much value with our listeners. I know that a lot of them are going to want to know more about you. Like, they're going to want to learn more from you. So can you tell us where the best places would be for them to follow you? And we'll link those below in the show notes.
Sure. Yeah. I think the one that I push more and I check out more is my YouTube channel. So youtube.com, I think /Detour shirts. We'll put it in there. Instagram, I'm there a lot of times too. So I have a Instagram page, same thing, Detour shirts. I also have a Facebook group. You probably can find it if you look under groups and Detour shirts there. And those are the three places. Oh, Twitter, X. I'm also, because I have more time, I post on there regularly too. So
nice.
Yeah, any of those.
Awesome. Cool, man. I am writing them down as we speak. We will definitely link all those below in the show notes. My friend, thank you so much for being here. We wish you all the best.
Thanks.
I'm already looking forward to having you on a third time.
Yes. Come on, let's do it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Listeners, like, go check, especially the YouTube channel. Check out Detour shirts. It is packed with gold. So much value there. So thank you so much, Juna. Really appreciate your time, and we will talk soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please consider leaving us an honest review on whichever platform you're listening from. Thank you so much in advance, and we'll talk very soon.